Hello, good evening, and a warm welcome. It's Wednesday, and it's News Extra, this 14th day of January. It is exactly 30 days before the commencement of the 2015 general elections, scheduled for the 14th of February. And with the clock ticking faster, politicians, especially those vying for political offices, are traversing the length and breadth of the country to seek the citizens' mandate. While the issue of voters' card is still being addressed, one very important aspect of the politicking process, which has started rearing its ugly head, is that of violence. Well, those in charge are not resting on their oars, so with their ability to extract a promise from the major players of ensuring that violence-free elections is conducted in the country in the next 4 weeks. We'll bring you details of all that. Politicians, while there are trappings, what any government needs to execute its programs is the budget. Now, amidst all the politicking, the National Assembly is working on that to ensure the passage of the 2015 appropriation bill. The news is that the Senate has passed the bill for a second reading. As Nigerians prepare for the elections on the 14th of February, tomorrow, January 15, is another historic day as activities to mark the Armed Forces Remembrance Day would come to an end. The day is commemorated as that which saw the end of the Nigerian Civil War. What is the essence of the day? You find out. The Harmattan is still on, and we cannot talk about it enough. There are many things needed to get through the season, but you may never guess what one of the commodities is that some vendors have turned into a cash cow. Of course, you have to remain with us to find out all that in the course of tonight's edition of News Extra. My name is Nigerian. Thanks for joining us. President Goodluck Jonathan and his APC counterpart, General Muhammadu Buhari, and other presidential candidates have reaffirmed their commitment to violence-free 2015 general elections in the country. They made the commitment at the sensitization workshop on non-violence, organized by the Office of the National Security Advisor to the President and the Office of the Special Advisor to the President on Inter-Party Affairs. State House correspondent Shegun Laole reports.
The sensitization workshop is seen as a child of necessity, as the political atmosphere is being heated by the day. Actions of the political parties and their supporters who are fanning the ember of violence. The workshop, among other objectives, therefore, is to remove violence from Nigeria's elections and ensure that even after the contest, Nigeria is one united family. This charge was the basis of the commitment and assurances of President Jonathan, who identified a number of factors responsible for election violence, including provocative statements, instigations by both political and religious leaders.
If all of us conduct ourselves properly, we stop insulting and abusing ourselves, we stop threatening, and we give the impression to Nigerians that they are safe in our hands, irrespective of who wins the election. Of course, this will reduce violence.
He also reminded INEC of the task of conducting credible elections without disenfranchising any eligible Nigerian.
So INEC must again come and tell Nigerians very clearly, in very clear terms, so that Nigerians will believe in the results of the election, that whatever method they are using is very safe.
General Muhammadu Buhari, among other presidential candidates, also committed himself to a violence-free election as they all go to the polls with the assurances from President Jonathan that the integrity of the ballot will be preserved.
I'm very, very impressed. The chairman of this occasion and those who made contributions have agreed. They have seen how Nigeria is so competent on paper. And I hope you, as part of the elite, will help us to 2015 election credible.
I pray for the guidance, for God guidance of the chairman of the commission and his team, that the coming election should not only be free, fair and credible, but it must be seen to be free, fair and credible to the people of Nigeria.
The press too should not be celebrating people who threaten all of us.
Our party will never, ever, ever be a part of any violence, any political violence. It simply won't happen.
Former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan described the 2015 general elections as another opportunity to confirm Nigeria's progress and status in the eyes of the world and indeed Nigerians.
I hope that you will urge all your candidates and their supporters not to resort to violence if they do not win.
All the presidential aspirants later signed an undertaking called Abuja Accord to reaffirm their commitment to a violence-free pre- and post-election in Nigeria. In Abuja, Segun Lawale, NTA News.
Just before the commencement of the sensitization workshop on non-violence, President Goodluck Jonathan and General Muhammadu Buhari held a closed-door meeting in the holding room of the Sheraton Hotel in Abuja.
How are you, Mr. President? How is the campaign? That's wonderful. How are you?
The two presidential candidates in the 2015 elections had joined the former UN Secretary General Dr. Kofi Annan and the former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Emeka Anyoko. They were later joined by the chairman of PDP and APC, including INEC's chairman, Professor Atahiru Jega. Although warm and friendly as they exchanged pleasantries, correspondent Segun Lawale reports that the outcome of the meeting was not made public, but may not be unconnected with the need for two main political parties to maintain decorum in their politicking. And in the next report, correspondent Abdullahi Garba Binukudu examines what is called the Abuja Accord signed by the political parties, their candidates, and other stakeholders towards achieving violence-free election in Nigeria.
Nigeria has a history of electoral violence, which many believe could have been averted if all stakeholders have worked together in a clean, contest, and free and fair electoral process. The objective of the sensitization workshop was to address such identified factors that trigger violence before, during, and after the election.
Stakeholders tend to use resources at their control in the contest for political power. And as Samuel Huntington said, the wealthy will bribe, the students will riot, the workers will strike, the mobs will demonstrate, and the military will coup.
Ideally, the political class should set standards commensurate with democratic values of tolerance, respect for opposing views, and promotion of the right of individuals to make free choices about how and who governs them.
The coming together of all political parties and their candidates is an opportunity to find solution to the problem.
Hereby commit ourselves and our parties to the following. 1, to run issue-based campaigns at national, state, and local government level.
The answer to our problems is if there is gap in communication, things go wrong. But when you bring people together under one roof, you will see the discussions will flow. You will see the brotherly, the Nigerian spirit.
One step, but the critical thing is not what we say here, but what the candidates do, what the political parties do, what the INEC and the electoral management do, particularly the security services, their impartiality.
To the organizers and participants, The message of the workshop must not stop at the whole.
Every state in Nigeria is critical to democracy. It is imperative to strengthen democracy in Nigeria. For instance, presidential and governorship debates will become a permanent feature of Nigeria's democratic process and democratic culture.
There's enough law for us to follow the instructions as laid down by either the Electoral Act, the Code of Conduct for Political Parties, the Electoral Act.
A stringent times they say SEPS 9. As the people leave this place, going by the commitments signed by these stakeholders in the electoral process, it is expected that 2015 election is going to be violence-free and credible. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Brunokudu, NTA News.
Exactly 1 month to the presidential election, consultations and campaigns have taken a higher dimension. President Jonathan was at the Legacy House headquarters of the PDP campaign organization, where he met with directors of the party's presidential council. The reasons and outcome of the meeting are what correspondent Nancy Gode-Anonihu reveals in this report.
Faithful are out here at the Legacy House waiting for the outcome of the meeting between the president and the directorate of the council.
After the closed-door meeting, which lasted for several hours, some of the crucial matters discussed were made known, such as an appraisal of the party's performance, the presidential campaign so far, and the way forward.
We are very pleased that PDP is leading. President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan will continue with the good work, will continue with transforming Nigeria, and will take Nigeria to the next level, where Nigeria will be among the first 20 most developed countries in this world.
So we have very clear messages to give to Nigerians based on concrete, verifiable facts on the ground. Therefore, our campaigns are authentic, issue-oriented. So we have that advantage, and we are doing so very, very well. Of course, we'll now also discuss additional strategy.
It will be recalled that the PDP Presidential Campaign Council was inaugurated on the 6th of this month to articulate a formidable campaign train and strategy for a successful campaign and victory at the presidential polls next month. Nancy Gode-Anonihu, NTA News.
The Senate has passed for second reading the 2015 appropriation bill of 4.357 trillion naira presented by the federal government for its services this fiscal year. The budget is aimed at consolidating and adding impetus to the nation's transformation agenda and promote economic growth, job creation, poverty reduction, as well as ensure better services delivery to all Nigerians. National Assembly correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Senate leader Victor Ndoma Egba, who led a debate on the general principles of the appropriation bill, said it is designed to build on the successes of the 2014 budget with emphasis on fiscal consolidation, inclusive growth and job creation. This, he said, will be achieved by focusing more on macroeconomic stability, structural reforms, diversification of the economy, as well as enhancing governance and institutional goals.
I believe that all the proposals in this budget are laudable and are tailored to meet the critical needs of the country at this point of our democratic evolution and to deliver on the dividends of democracy.
This definitely is an austerity budget, a belt-tightening budget.
We will be lucky, Mr. President, in 2015 if Nigeria is going to be able to finance its recurrent expenditure from oil revenue.
I believe very strongly that the internally generated revenue of this country, particularly of the federal government, can fund this budget.
We will have to earn and consume what we generate.
And we must organize ourselves and see how we survive in the circumstance.
Despite the concerns raised over the assumptions upon which the budget is predicated following uncertainties in the global oil market, the lawmakers passed the bill unanimously for second reading and referred to the Committee on Appropriation for further action.
This is a real wake-up call to our nation as we face these challenging times of economic recession and the downward trend in our oil revenue. We are prepared to also lead the fight for fiscal discipline in Nigeria.
Meanwhile, the Senate has adopted the Conference Committee report on the establishment of the FCT Board of Internal Revenue to assess, collect, and account for revenues accruable to the FCT.
Then once this bill is passed into law,
the SDP will be in position to employ more people and provide enough money for the overall development of the Federal Capital Territory.
Another conference committee report on the Social Insurance Trust Fund Act Amendment Bill 2015 was also adopted.
This bill focuses on benefits to the child, to the unemployed, and to the elderly.
Also at Wednesday's plenary, 2 other reports on the Nigerian Institute of Animal Science Amendment Bill, as well as Chartered Institute of Certified Secretaries and Reporters Establishment Bill, were passed for third reading, while 2 bills for the establishment of Chartered Institute of Auctioneers of Nigeria, as well as Environmental Managers Registration Council, scaled second reading. The Senate resumes plenary on the 17th of February this year. From the National Assembly, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And the 2015 appropriation bill has passed second reading at the House of Representatives. Members also approved the recommendation of the Committee on Electoral Matters on the bill, which seeks to further amend the Electoral Act 2010 to ensure a level playing field for all participants in the electoral process. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Okafor has details of these and other activities at Wednesday's plenary.
Before the passage of the 2015 appropriation bill at second reading, members spoke on its strength and the prevailing situation surrounding the benchmark with respect to the consistent drop in the price of crude oil at the international market.
Which proposed appropriation for the Federation in the total sum of 4,335,960,000,000 naira.
The budget before us is a budget that has some few challenges because of the oil price. So it is important that we refer this document to the committee.
The government must be a little bit more serious in terms of non-oil proceeds, because that appears to be where our future as a country is going to continue to lie.
There must be a fine-tooth comb scrutiny of these projections.
As we pass this budget, work on it and pass it, we must also step up our oversight functions.
For the budget to be accurate, or for us to do justice to the budget, it means that we'll have to peg down the benchmark.
Successive governments have been paying lip service to the issue of diversification of the Nigerian economy.
A 7-man ad hoc committee was also constituted by the House to investigate the allegations by the Directorate of State Security on the hacking of INEC database and to report to the House within 2 weeks. The House dissolved into the Committee of the Whole and considered the report of the Committee on Electoral Matters. Most of the amendments to the Electoral Act 2010 were adopted.
To ensure a level playing field for all participants in the electoral process and for a more transparent process of conducting elections in Nigeria and for other matters connected therewith, and approved clauses 9 to 36.
Journalists were briefed on issues surrounding the Electoral Act and also the internally displaced persons and pending bills. Deputy Chairman, House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Victor Ogene, threw more light on the issues at plenary.
The House has the will and the determination to put through that amendment.
The House adjourned plenary till the 17th of February 2015, however, with emphasis that committee sittings and other legislative engagements will continue within the period. From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Okafor, NTA News.
And more political issues on today's edition of News Extra. The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, General Muhammadu Buhari, has promised that his government will tackle the challenges of corruption and insecurity to take the nation's economy to the next level if voted into power in the coming elections. General Buhari said this while addressing party supporters at the All Progressives Congress mega rally in Abuja, the Ogun State capital. Correspondent Leako Abunde has the details.
The MKO Abiola Stadium at Kuto Abeokuta was filled to capacity as thousands of party supporters drawn from the 20 local government areas thronged the venue for the mega rally. Speakers at the rally charged the people on the need to collect their permanent voter cards and come out to cast their vote for the candidates of the All Progressives Congress at all levels during the elections.
Lack of and corruption. The APC is determined to break this vicious circle. Guys, 2015 is a day of change for Nigeria.
Part of the highlights of the rally was the official presentation of the APC flag to the governor of Ogun State, Senator Ibukla Mosun.
I continue to thank you and reassure you that we have just started. The best is yet to come to us in Ogun State.
The presidential candidate and the leaders of the party embarked on visits to prominent people across the 4 divisions of the state. The home of the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, was the first port of call. The former president charged all the politicians to put the country above all other interests. He advised all political parties to place high premium on infrastructural development as pivot of economic growth. In Abuja, Lekon Agmode, NTA News.
The presidential standard bearer of the African Democratic Congress, Dr. Mani Ibrahim Ahmad, says the party is poised to re-engineer Nigeria's education system if given the mandate in the next month's election. Dr. Ahmad said this at the flag-off of the ADC presidential campaign at internally displaced persons camp at Kushingoro in Abuja. Kemi Fakeye reports.
Congress presidential campaign is that it was flagged off at the internally displaced persons camp at New Kuchingoro in Abuja. The gesture presidential standard bearer said is to connect with the people and identify with their plight. Dr. Ahmad said the party chose education as its main focus because it is the foundation for positive turnaround of any society. He said through re-engineered education, ADC will solve the challenges of insurgency, poverty and religious intolerance in Nigeria.
Now, after pumping money to develop more infrastructure and provide the learning facilities and create a conducive learning environment, we also want to change the content of what we are teaching our young people so that education will not only be for them to get jobs, but for them to be able to be producers of jobs and productive in an economic system that is guided by intelligence globally.
The internally displaced persons appreciate the ADC presidential standard bearer for flagging off his campaign at this camp. They, however, appealed for proactive steps and political will to tackle the issue of insurgency in Nigeria.
We are the citizens of Nigeria. Since we come here, we never see somebody that come here and cater for us or saying hi.
With the flag off, the African Democratic Congress Party is set to take its campaign to all states of the Federation. In Abuja, Kemi Fakeye, NTA News.
Harnessing the potential of the Nigerian youth population has again been described as one way to create a robust political environment and engineer positive changes in the polity. This was the submission by the guest on NTA Current Affairs program, Good Morning Nigeria. Gufan Shaji tells us more.
Elections, the youth, desperate politicians and electoral violence are issues all linked in an intricate web as Nigeria edges closer to the crucial 2015 polls. Studies have shown that most acts of violence committed before, during and after elections are perpetrated by youth who are often unemployed, uneducated and in most cases idle. Guests on NTA's program Good Morning Nigeria have advocated that politicians should have low tolerance for violence and imbibe neighborliness.
Issue of educating the young persons, letting them know what is expected of them, what the statutes, what the laws say they should do.
What will help Nigerians to believe that an election is free, fair and credible? That will reduce violence, and that goes back to the empire, which is INEC.
Stakeholders also say that INEC's ability to distribute the permanent voters card on time will help avoid electoral violence and urge relevant security agents to be on top of their game.
Perpetrate these crimes, do them for and on behalf of their masters. And you will recall vividly that in the situation whereby the perpetrator feels that he has a very strong master, he feels he is covered.
This calls for the need to ensure that effective sanctions are imposed on electoral offenses.
In Abuja, Gufan Shaji, NTA News.
The National Orientation Agency, NOA, has urged political parties to use the period of electioneering campaigns to promote peace and unity in the country to douse the seeming anxiety among the populace. The Director General of NOA, Michael Mary, made the point during a visit to the national headquarters of the Labour Party in Abuja as part of the agency's advocacy for a free, fair and violence-free 2015 election. The DG also urged politicians to moderate their languages and stop the hate messages. The national chairman of Labour Party, Abdulkadir Salami, praised the NOA for taking the initiative to re-engineer the orientation of political activists at this time, saying some of the utterances of politicians during this period have frightened the people. Politicians have been challenged to run clean campaigns devoid of political thuggery. Sultan Saad Abubakar gave the challenge while receiving Sokoto State PDP governorship candidate Alhaji Abdallah Wali at his palace. Jabi Ilela Deborah has the report.
The Sultan said as royal fathers to all, they will not relent in their efforts at serving humanity and rallying around issues aimed at moving the nation forward. Chairman People's Democratic Party in Sokoto, Alhaji Ibrahim Milgoma, said they were at the palace to introduce the PDP gubernatorial candidate to the Sultan for his royal blessings. The PDP chairman pledged their continued cooperation, support and loyalty to the Sultanate Council. The PDP team comprised members contesting for senatorial and House of Representatives seats, as well as the Sokoto State House of Assembly, among others. In Sokoto, Jabir Lela Dabore, NTA News.
A group known as Concerned Anyoma Patriotic Forum Delta State Chapter has appealed to the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Adamu Muazu, to, as a matter of urgency, wade into the internal wrangling of the party in the state. Correspondent Anthony Paulson reports.
Spokesman of the group, Patrick Amechi Oko, said the 2014 PDP primaries for Delta State was characterized by irregularities which saw unpopular candidates emerging as the party's flag bearers in the forthcoming general elections, a situation that has necessitated their appeal for redress.
This advice has become imperative in view of the crisis associated with some of the candidates. The earlier, the National Executive Committee of our great party PDP asked the better for the entire benefit of PDP followers in Delta State.
The forum was held at the PDP Secretariat in Abuja, where the Chief Security at the Secretariat, Malam Yerima, appealed to the protesters to remain calm as their grievances will be forwarded to the party leadership, who are currently on a nationwide campaign with the president. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
President Goodluck Jonathan has assured serving and retired military personnel that their sacrifices to nation building in war and peace times will not pass undocumented in the annals of the country. President Jonathan said this while unveiling a cenotaph at the National Cemetery, Abuja. Correspondent Muhammad Abdul Qadri reports.
It was a solemn occasion which called for sober reflection over the gallantry of the servicemen and women who paid the supreme price in counter-insurgency operations in the Northeast as President Goodluck Jonathan unveiled the cenotaph.
It's a project that is dear to me. That is why I mentioned that we need to have this kind of a memorial for remembrance of our past heroes. Probably in the future, as a nation, we may even have a bigger museum that photographs of some of our gallant officers will be displayed.
President Jonathan, who seized the opportunity to appreciate the service personnel, also interacted with the officers and men. Those who fought in the mission in the Northeast from 2011 to date also received medals as a token of national appreciation for the services rendered to keep the country together.
And it's a clear testimony that the government will always remember those who have served this country, especially the military and paramilitary officers that have to be awake for us to sleep. They have to be in the sun, they have to be in the bush for us to live in peace. For me, I've always said it, continue to command the Nigerian armed forces and the security operatives. People who may not know exactly what you are passing through.
The Chief of Defense Staff, Air Chief Marshal Ale Sabundu Bade, urged Nigerians not to waver in supporting the military. The cenotaph is the first at the National Military Cemetery, and it is comparable to its types in the developed climes. This cenotaph, containing 300 names of the fallen heroes, is a bold attempt on the part of the government to immortalize the fallen heroes in Operation Boyona and Operation Salmon Lafia in the northeast. From the Military Cemetery, Abuja, Muhammad Abdel Kadri, NTA News.
This is News Extra on the network service of the NTA. Like we said earlier, this is a political season, so we still have more of happenings in the political scene after these messages. Stay with us.
Not easy for Dr. Martin Luther King when Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew transformed Singapore from third world to first world. It was not easy. They stoned him. It was not easy for Nelson Mandela.
I, Barack Hussein Obama.
It was not easy for Barack Obama. Nothing worthwhile ever is. Dr. Martin Luther King did it. Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew did it. Nelson Mandela did it. Barack Obama did it. Goodluck Jonathan is doing it. He is transforming Nigeria. Mr. President, keep doing it. We who are with you are so many more than those who are against you. A message from protectors of Nigerian posterity.
Enjoy thousands of hit songs on the go with the MTN Music Plus app. Enjoy non-stop streaming, watch videos, and listen to your favorite songs even when offline. Simply text music to 5900 to download the MTN Music Plus app and get free subscription for the first month.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Good people of Nigeria, the general elections are here. Nigeria's democracy must be advanced.
Nigeria's democracy is still very much alive.
Another opportunity has come for us to elect leaders of our choice into various elective offices.
As INEC is set to conduct the presidential and National Assembly elections on Saturday, February 14, 2015.
And the governorship and state houses of assembly elections on Saturday, February 28, 2015.
Perform your civic duties. Come out, visit the polling units, and cast your vote on the days of the elections.
Show that you are a true citizen of Nigeria.
Be patriotic.
This message is from INEC.
INEC, making your votes count. Consolidating our democracy.
My father has always taught me the importance of hard work. He says with Shell's help, he has been given the chance he needs. And that gives me the chance I need.
Shell supports local businesses and entrepreneurs, helping them to thrive and expand. Shell, let's go.
The fact is, the federal government has unbundled the PHCN companies. Average hours of power availability in 10 major cities has increased. National independent power projects and the 34 independent power plants would add about 7,770 megawatts to the existing national grid. The existing thermal power stations would increase generation capacity by 900.5 megawatts. The fact is, The 700 megawatt capacity Zungeru hydro plant will soon be ready in less than 48 months. The 3,350 megawatt capacity Mambila hydroelectric power project would soon commence. The actual fact is that President Goodluck Jonathan has done more for power than all of his predecessors. Support the transformation agenda and watch as Mr. President lights up Nigeria.
This message is brought to you by the Wind of Hope.
Sweet, 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 sweet.
Pure premium quality granulated sugar. So sweet and delicious. It will make you even more
sweet, 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 sweet.
Pure finest quality vitamin A enriched sugar, manufactured to the highest global standards, just for your enjoyment. Pure sugar, how sweet it is.
One nation under God. We are a strong force. You cannot separate us. Is the time to make it right. I am proudly Nigerian. I vote Goodluck Jonathan. We are proudly Nigerian, and we proudly take a stand. Let me hear you sing. Stand for equality. Stand for unity. You got my vote, Jonathan. You got our vote, Jonathan. Mother and father and brother and sister too. Hey, oh, good luck, Jonathan. Oh, yeah.
A message from House to House campaign and support.
This is the commemorative 100 Naira note from the Central Bank of Nigeria to mark Nigeria's centenary celebration. The new 100 Naira note will circulate side by side with the old note, which remains legal tender. The commemorative 100 Naira has new designs and security features introduced by the central bank, which make it difficult to counterfeit the Naira. It looks different and also feels good to the touch, even with the eyes closed. Yes, and by looking, feeling and tilting the Naira like this, you can tell whether or not it is genuine. The Naira is a symbol of our identity. Accept it, spend it and keep it clean. This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN.
You're welcome back. Nigerians will have the opportunity to choose their leaders based on content and issue-based manifesto. Deborah Brooksland Sunday was at the meeting of the trustees of the Nigerian Elections Debate Group in Abuja and reports that the meeting focused on how to accomplish the vision of the group.
Members made their inputs in ensuring that people become wise in making their choices, especially after listening to candidates' manifesto in the several categories of debates they will be organizing.
And so we had what I thought was a pretty good visit, and I think that visit has resulted today in the participation of somebody from Daily Trust.
Speaking to newsmen after the meeting, the group says they are ready to give all it takes to ensure that all political parties are involved and carried along.
Content and Mobilization Committee of NEDG is determined to meet with all the 14 candidates who will be contesting in the presidential elections. We've met 7, and we hope before the end of this week to meet the other 7 candidates.
An elections debate by NEDG, both presidential and governorship, have helped in making sure we have on voting day peaceful election.
The meeting also resolved on the new dates for debates, which will be preceded by a town hall meeting on the 24th of January, while vice presidential debates is slated for 28th of January, and the first session of the presidential debates will take place on 29th of January 2015. The last session is scheduled for 5th of February 2015. In Abuja, Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
No democracy, no matter how old, can thrive in a lawless society. That was the submission of a group of Nigerians known as the Council of Wise Men under the umbrella of Savannah Center. Ignatius Nkwọ was at their meeting in Abuja.
Of the Council of the Wise as inaugurated on 22nd of December 2014, and it was established by the Savannah Center. This meeting aims at reviewing political activities in the country as a build-up to the 2015 general election. Here with me is Ambassador Abdullahi Omaki. He is the Executive Director of the Savannah Center. Sir, can you tell us what is the main focus of this meeting?
First of all, we'll look at what has happened between our last meeting and this meeting, and then take stock of political developments, particularly since the campaigns began last week, some of the issues that relate to violence.
These wise men, as they are called, observed that only when stakeholders adhere to the rules of the game that our democracy can be sustained.
Nigeria needs a peaceful election, a credible election.
Intervene where there are possibilities of violence.
Everybody needs to work for Nigeria.
So far, the group says it has interfaced with relevant stakeholders such as political parties, security agents and civil society organizations on the way forward for the 2015 elections. In Abuja, Ignatius Nkwọ, NTA News.
With 30 days to the presidential election in Nigeria, women trading in Wuse Market, Abuja, have prayed for the victory of President Goodluck Jonathan and peaceful polls. The prayer is coming barely 2 weeks after the Federal Ministry of Power commenced the construction of solar-powered market stalls for them. Mayor Ogidi reports.
The Minister of Power, Professor Chinedu Nebo, who stood in for President Goodluck Jonathan at the prayer session, enjoined the market women not to lose faith in the present administration as the president places high regard for women empowerment.
In line with President Jonathan's transformation agenda, the Ministry of Power decided to work to make sure that your pains with regard to power supply is all stopped.
But let my prayer be to Mr. Goodluck Jonathan Ebere to continue.
You and our own support is solidly behind. We are solidly behind you, even ever before, and even till now we are behind you. No any other person. I know all of us, most of us here, we have our voters card.
After the prayer session, the women and the minister embarked on brief solidarity march for the president within the Wuse Market.
As Mr. President himself has always said, we need prayers all the time. Prayers for the peace of the country, prayers for the success of the transformation agenda. What is more important for us as Minister of Power is this initiative by the minister to impact the market women, and like he has said, we will populate this in other areas.
Leaders. Every religion says that we should pray for our leaders to go. And let me also emphasize, the president is not just doing this. We have a program called National Power Sector Apprenticeship Scheme, of which we are engaging 7,400 young people. It's a nationwide thing.
Before leaving the market, the minister also inspected some parts of the market where the solar power project can be extended to. In Abuja, Mayor Ogidi, NTA News.
And still on politics, here is a political talk by the presidential candidate of the Allied Congress Party of Nigeria, Ganiyu Galadima.
My name is Ganiyu Oseni Galadima. I'm the national chairman of the Allied Congress Party of Nigeria, ACPN, and also the presidential candidate. We are in the presidential contest and in the contest for other positions in Nigeria to avail the Nigerian people of the good provisions that are contained in the manifesto of our party. As it is now, the greatest problem facing Nigeria today is the unemployment of youth. This does not know tribe or religion. It is in my community, it is in your community, it is in every community. And as such, our party, the ACPN, wish to inform Nigeria that we will create jobs massively for you. We will create jobs in the public sector. We will recruit in the Nigerian military. We will recruit people into the Nigerian Navy. We will recruit people into the Nigerian Air Force. We will recruit into the police force. We will recruit into the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps so that Nigeria can be safe. Our party, the Allied Congress Party of Nigeria, will deregulate the power sector so as to encourage foreign direct investment and to also encourage our people to participate in our economy so that there can be power. If there is power, if there is power in Nigeria, all the industries that led this country to establish in Ghana and in other neighboring countries, all of them will come back. We will encourage investors in Nigeria. We will encourage our citizens to participate in our economy. Then we will subsidize agriculture. Agriculture used to be the mainstay of the Nigerian economy. We will make agriculture very incentive so that our youth can go into it. We will provide fertilizer at a very subsidized rate so that it can go around. We will eradicate poverty in the rural areas. Then we will provide massive infrastructure for the people of Nigeria. Please vote for the ACPA. I want to assure you that all the promises that are contained in our manifesto will be fulfilled. God bless Nigeria.
Plus, the chairman and presidential candidate of ACPN, Ganiyu Galadima, on political talk. Now, more politics. Meanwhile, international and local elections monitoring organizations have been told that the processes leading up to the elections should also be of concern to them, rather than wait for the elections alone. Participants at the National Workshop on Voter Education for the 2015 elections, organized by the Nigerian Bar Association, stated this position. Femi Okewo was there.
Notion about election monitoring has been restricted to the elections proper, but the Nigerian Bar Association, being an election monitoring organization itself, thinks that that scope should be widened to accommodate the pre-election processes. This is where the voter education process also comes in.
So we took a decision. At this time, we must do more than just monitor. We must mobilize our people to vote.
We partner with INEC, political parties, and other relevant agencies so as to promote increased political and electoral awareness.
Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka, who was the keynote speaker, said that elections should always bring about a more humble political class.
Clearly, we know that beyond the preparedness of INEC, these elections seem to have generated quite a lot of anxiety across our country. So many issues have been thrown up, ranging from the doomsday scenarios and dubious prophecies.
Just as the Attorney General of the Federation called on the electorate to use their franchise wisely.
The question as to whether our country is prepared for the elections, in my opinion, can be answered in the affirmative.
With the presentation of the voters' register to the political parties, it is now known that 68 million voters are registered. Part of the intention of this workshop is to ensure that this election reflects this high number of voters. From the International Conference Center, Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
As preparations towards February 14 general election continue, the need to proper protection of the media has been emphasized. National President of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ, Malam Garba Mohammed, said this at the inaugural meeting of the committee known as Monitoring Network on Safety of Journalists in Abuja. Ruben Okala reports.
The political atmosphere is hotting up with electioneering campaigns as the electorates prepare to cast their votes come February 14, while the media personnel sharpen their working tools to go to the field for effective coverage. In carrying out their social responsibilities, journalists sometimes are casualty of political violence. The Monitoring Network on Safety of Journalists was put together by the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, with support from UNESCO.
For the media to be able to discharge our social responsibility, the issue of security, protection, and safety is very, very fundamental.
We are familiar that in election period, particularly in our country, sometimes instances become very volatile. Go and report the news. Don't be the news to be reported.
Your job as a journalist is you are going into the position, the scene of crisis, while others are running away. So the only thing is just to be careful. And
the committee has, among other things, objective of encouraging tolerance of diversity of views and adherence to the rule of law in handling grievances. In Abuja, Ruben Okala, NTA News.
With this year's election around the corner, voter education is key to ensuring free, fair, credible, and violent-free polls is gathering momentum. This, however, depends largely on the critical role of major stakeholders like the journalists. This is the submission of speakers at a workshop with the theme Community Reporting for Building a Democratic Value in the run-up to 2015 elections holding in Kaduna. Tina Toro reports.
An election to be free, fair, credible and devoid of violence, synergy between journalists and relevant stakeholders, as well as a well-informed electorate, is key. To help achieve this, the workshop, which is a collaboration between the Nigerian Union of Journalists and the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria, is to equip journalists with new techniques in election reporting and re-strategize on how to ensure safety of journalists during the election. The U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, James Entwistle, challenges journalists to be accurate in reporting political issues.
Your readers, your viewers, your listeners, and your social media followers are counting on you to portray accurately and fairly the positions of the candidates and parties and to explain clearly the details of policy issues.
Resource persons at the workshop who took cognizance of the challenges faced by journalists in Nigeria said they are surmountable. The national president, Nigerian Union of Journalists, Muhammad Garba, noted that it is obligatory for every journalist to comply with ethical principles and professional standards.
When they are on the field as reporters, they will be able to be guided by the electoral law, by the electoral regulations, so that at the end of it all, they will report as professional as possible.
When such an informed gathering takes place, there is surely going to be exchange of ideas and exchange of good practices.
Will help us as journalists to remember our values and our ethics.
It is expected that the training will help journalists carry out their duties effectively and efficiently. In Kaduna, Tina Toro, NTA News.
Troops of the Nigerian Army have successfully repelled a Boko Haram attack on Biu town of Borno State in the early hours of Wednesday. The combined efforts of the Air Force and ground troops led to the successful operation, with casualties on the side of the insurgents. Residents of Biu town contacted on phone said they saw 3 aircrafts and ground soldiers engaging terrorists who could not withstand the power of the military. 7th Division of the Nigerian Army has confirmed the attack. A suicide bomber blew up himself, killing 3 persons in a failed attempt to attack innocent people observing evening prayer in a mosque at Kasuan Mata Street of Gombe Metropolis. And that report will be coming to you in our subsequent bulletin. Now, Nigeria is joining the rest of the world, especially the Commonwealth countries, to celebrate the annual Armed Forces Remembrance Day tomorrow, to climax series of activities lined up for the event. In this special report, correspondent Muhammad Abdul Qadri examines the essence of the ceremony.
15 January every year is a date set aside to climax series of activities lined up for the Armed Forces Remembrance celebration in the country. 11th of November every year coincides with the Remembrance Day, popularly known as Poppy Day or 11/11, for the First and Second World War veterans, dead or alive in all Commonwealth countries. Nigeria, as a member of Commonwealth countries, however, chose the historic date of 15th January to commemorate the end of the 30-month civil war. The event, ab initio, is meant to celebrate the gallantry of those who fought to keep the country together, alongside those who made their marks in peacekeeping operations in Darfur, Congo, Sierra Leone, and Liberia.
What we do is the normal thing anyway. The only difference is that, for instance, in UK, you have some other activities, social activities within that period. For instance, from about 8th of November till about the end of November, between 8th and 20th of November, most activities are geared towards raising money, raising funds for the Legion of for the veterans.
Beyond the regimented and ritualistic march past nationwide by the military personnel and the Nigerian Legion as a mark of honor for the fallen and living heroes, one area of concern is the plight of the living war legend and their families. Although the Constitution and the Armed Forces Act recognize the celebration of the Armed Forces Day as well as the Nigerian Legion, which is why any sitting president is the life patron, and down the line, governors and council chairmen call the shot in the federal arrangement, and yet it has not translated into improved living condition for the ex-servicemen. Observers say the ceremony is bedeviled by non-remittance of the proceeds from the sales of the emblem, failed pledges for its purchase by some individuals, as well as mindset by people that the welfare of the ex-servicemen and women are government's responsibility. In Abuja, Muhammad Abdul Kadri, NTA News.
A formidable educational structure to enhance both moral and social well-being of the youth has been identified as the antidote to youth involvement in insurgency and other vices. The Chief of Defense Staff, Air Chief Marshal Alex Bade, made this assertion during the commissioning of a 40-room hostel and classroom block at the Naowa Educational Center, New Karshi in Nasarawa State. Defense correspondent KG Busari Ahmad covered the event.
The guiding principle of education in Nigeria is the equipping of every citizen with such knowledge, skills, attitudes and values as to enable the youth to derive maximum benefits from his membership in the society, lead a fulfilling life and contribute to the development and welfare of the community and the country at large. In the spirit of promoting quality education, the Naval Officers' Wives Association, NOWA, has continued to invest in educational infrastructure within the naval community.
NOAA as an association appreciates the fact that no society can afford to pay lip service to educational needs of the youth because it is a tool for social economic development.
The Chief of Defense Staff, Air Chief Marshal Alex Bade, who commended NOAA, noted that
it will encourage teachers to be committed to achieve the ideals of the school, which is to produce sound minds who will be leaders of tomorrow.
I am very grateful by seeing that this school was sited in my area. My area is developing and my children are getting work here, they are in school here, they are getting all the help. We are happy.
Just like some other non-governmental organizations, NOAA believe that the adequate provision of infrastructures in school will further enhance education and keep youth away from crime. From the NOAA headquarters in Abuja, KG Busari Ahmed, NTA News.
My father has always taught me the importance of hard work. He says with Shell's help, he has been given the chance he needs. And that gives me the chance I need.
Shell supports local businesses and entrepreneurs, helping them to thrive and expand. Shell, let's go.
Introducing new and improved Pampers Baby Dry with Stretch. Our stretchy sides are designed to expand and contract with your baby's tummy. Pampers lock wetness in for a dry and comfortable night's sleep. New Baby Dry. Dryness guaranteed or your money back.
Love is the greatest of all virtues. The Holy Bible and the Holy Quran tell us so. Love is not boastful. Love is humble, cool under pressure. Love is hope for the next generation. Love is the North, East, West, and South living in unity. Love is progress despite adversity. It makes the impossible possible. Love is a secure nation with prosperity for all. Love is transformation. We need more love. Good luck, Abele Jonathan. Driven by love for God and country. Mr. President, we appreciate you. We who are with you are so many more than those who are against you. A message from protectors of Nigerian posterity.
And now to our business news. Market indicators at the nation's capital market depreciate in 2014 as finance expert advocates reduction in the nation's current expenditure to show off the declining value of the naira. Details with Abdullahi Mohammed in our business news segment.
Thanks for joining us on Business News tonight. My name is Abdullahi Mohammed. One sure way to show up the declining value of the naira is for the nation to cut down the cost of import bills and encourage the patronage of made-in-Nigeria goods. President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICAN, gave this advice in an interview with Business News correspondent Amechi Pius. He said the prevailing economic reality has made it expedient for government to reduce the cost of governance.
Our advice to government is to consider seriously the issue of cutting down on recurrent expenditure. And then when you do that first, you don't look at actually increasing tax across board. I think you will have a better reception from the people when they see that the sacrifices is being shared by all.
Transactions on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange in 2014 ended on a bearish note when compared with what was recorded in 2013. Amechi Pius has details of trading statistics for the past year as presented by the Exchange Chief Executive, Oscar Onyema, in Lagos.
According to the Chief Executive of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Oscar Onyema, the market opened in 2014 on a positive note. This trend prevailed through the second quarter of the year following the nation's GDP rebasing exercise. By the second half and into the last quarter of the year under review, Exchange's boss said the bearish sentiment which prevailed on the market forced investors to withdraw steadily from the market.
The air of uncertainty that hovered over the Nigerian capital market through 2014 caused investors to increasingly adopt a flight to quality strategy.
Market capitalization dropped by 13.15%. From 12.3 trillion naira, which it closed in 2013, to 11.49 trillion naira in 2014. The exchange's all-share index slipped by 16.4% in the year under review, while average turnover for equities was 5.4 billion naira, up by 29.5%. 5 companies were delisted in 2014, bringing the total number of listed companies to 189 and listed equities to 197.
And that's Business News tonight. Thanks for being part of it. News Extra continues shortly.
Thank you indeed. Now, youths in Plateau State have been asked to take advantage of the vast agricultural potential that abound in the state to make a living from it after leaving school. Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Schools Agricultural Program, NSAP, Dr. Baraka Sani, said this while flagging off the program in Jos. Priscilla Goniman reports.
The goal of the National Schools Agricultural Program, NTAP, is to equip students with technical and entrepreneurship skills to run agriculture as a business. The program, which is an initiative of the present administration, is targeted at secondary school students. The senior special assistant to the president, represented by her special assistant, Victor Ego, said Plateau State was chosen as one of the 12 pilot states to kickstart the program because of its diverse agricultural potentials.
The project implementation unit office is the link between the national office and the state for the implementation of the NSAP. Therefore, it should be adequately equipped with necessary staff and gadgets for effective functioning.
Plateau State Governor John David Jang, represented by the State Commissioner for Education Paul Y, said the program is a deliberate action to empower young people economically after leaving school. State Coordinator, National Schools Agriculture Program, Mrs. Sarah Garba, and Commissioner for Agriculture, Stephen Barku, said the program will encourage students to build a good career in mechanized agriculture, thereby boosting food security in the country. The state project coordinator, Fadama 3, and the federal team of the program implementation unit of NSAP presented goodwill messages. For News Extra, Priscilla Grumnan.
Every situation brings out the ingenuity of man, and no matter how adverse, there are people who will turn it into a money-yielding venture. The Harmattan in Sheka community in Kano has given way for a brisk business with the sale of hot water. Hadiza Mohammed tells us more.
The Harmattan season has made many adapt to various lifestyles in order to cope with the harsh condition. Harmattan season traditionally lasts for 5 months, but nowadays lasts for 3 months. The effect of the harsh weather is felt more by people living in the northern part of the country.
Last year, the cool is not much like this year.
The extreme cold has given some people the opportunity to float a business of selling hot water. This is El Kaswa Market within Sheka community here in Kano, where a hot water seller has taken advantage of the Harmattan season, selling hot water at 20 naira per rubber. What baffles one most is the queue in front of the hot water pot, and also the children that are being sent from homes to buy hot water. From all indication, many people in Kano are eager to see the end of the extreme cold weather. Hadiza Muhammad reporting.
Thank you, Hadiza. The federal government is partnering 3 foreign and indigenous companies to construct additional transmission lines and the development of generation and distribution infrastructure to boost the power situation in Nigeria. Mia Ogidi reports that the funding of the project is the sole responsibility of the companies, while government will be involved in licensing of power purchasing agreements when completed.
Before 2007, Nigeria was generating 2,350 megawatts of electricity. However, committed to improve on this situation, the federal government of Nigeria privatized the power sector, and subsequently, many memoranda of understanding have been signed to expand the energy mix. Today, Nigeria is generating close to 5,000 megawatts of electricity. With the successes recorded in some of the previous agreements, especially that of China with Nexim Bank on the funding of the Zungeru hydropower project, 3 memoranda of understanding have again been signed, majorly to construct 330 kVA transmission lines, associated substations, and development of generation and distribution network. What are some of the roles of the federal government and the companies in this new agreement?
Well, with the government, there is no financial implication, even though it's a PPP mostly, but these companies are going to be funding this. The government is going to provide the basic necessities, a workable and enabling environment for them to be able to achieve what they are going to do.
And what is the essence of this MOU? Is for us to fund and execute critical transmission projects that will enhance and boost the capacity in the power sector.
So, these 3 memoranda of understanding being signed by the Federal Minister of Power and the 3 companies
is expected to boost the power generation, distribution, and the transmission of the nation's power sector. In Abuja, Mayor Ogede, NTA News.
20 lucky Nigerians have joined the League of Millionaires, courtesy Globacom. They participated in the ongoing Glow Overload promo. Tunde Saiki was at the official presentation of the 1 million naira checks each to the lucky winners in Lagos.
That was the euphoria when Rafiu Ajao was called to pick up his 1 million naira check. Other successful recipients also showed one form of excitement or the other.
I thank God. I don't even know how I can express myself.
Really happy because if somebody tell me that this 2015 I can be a millionaire because I'm feeding 70 people, including my mother.
What I will do with the million naira is that I'm going to invest it into my business to expand it.
All they did was to test *200# and today they now join the League of Millionaires.
The promo Glow Overload, which started November last year, is expected to enrich 120 Nigerians as millionaires. The sales director of Globacom, Ken Hall, said the award is part of the company's ways of sharing happiness, excitement and empowerment to Glow esteemed subscribers.
And so we feel that there are many ways of doing that. Good network, good service, all of which we're striving hard to achieve. In addition to that, why not give more in the form of promotions, nice prizes, spread it out to as many subscribers as we can.
Other awards for the remaining 100 subscribers are expected to be presented at 6 other centers across the country. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
You are still watching News Extra, and we do appreciate your time. There'll be more reports after the break. Don't go away.
The time has come once more for us to make the right choice. We did it before, we can do it again. Let us lay aside our differences and think about Nigeria. Let us vote for Good Luck Jonathan again.
Vote Good Luck Jonathan and Namadi Sambo for President and Vice President 2015. Vote PDP.
This message is brought to you courtesy Transformation Ambassadors of Nigeria. TAN for One Vision, Nigeria.
After a dry night in Pampers, babies can achieve so many things. Introducing new and improved Pampers for a dry and comfortable night of sleep, thanks to our new stretchy sides and super gel that absorbs and locks in wetness better than other diapers. So your baby starts the day dry, making every morning one to be proud of. New Baby Dry. Dryness guaranteed or your money back.
The biggest problem we have is when I listen to the speakers talk about the population of Africa, 1 billion people, 21 democracies, as a loud count, 8 semi-democratic, the rest you know. There is a relationship. There is a relationship between growth, development in media and entertainment and democracy. The least democratic you are, the less likely you have media. Media survives in a democratic environment.
Vote Ben Bruce for Senate 2015. Vote Green. Let there be light.
Nigerian youth, a golden opportunity beckons in football. The maiden edition of the President Cup football competition is on, starting from the 774 local governments in Nigeria and terminating with the finals at the Abuja National Stadium on February 5th, 2015. Only footballers aged between 16 and 19 are eligible to play. The zonal eliminations start from January 16th to 22nd in 6 zonal centers of Jos, Kaduna, Bauchi, Akure, Umahia, and Uyo. Be part of this public-private sector initiative to breed players for national teams and international competitions and promote national unity. Believe in your talent. You can emerge a professional footballer. Announcer, Organizing Committee.
Experience Katsina.
Home of a vibrant history, a culture of pride and peace. Centuries of tradition have built a solid foundation.
Invest in Katsina.
The future is here. Opportunity is everywhere. Nestled in northwest Nigeria, it's the home of untapped resources, solar and wind energy, and solid minerals.
Grow Katsina.
From the fertile land and the seeds of potential, grow cotton, corn, rice, and livestock. Katsina is the breadbasket for Nigeria.